What's up, everybody? Omid, Succeed with Omid here again to talk about breathing and why it's so important for pretty much any goal you have physically or mentally in life. A lot of people will start to try and overcomplicate a lot of different exercise, a lot of different diet stuff, a lot of different sleeping habits, a lot of different supplements, everything like that, and then they just forget the basics of we really only need two things to survive in the short term. One is water and one is oxygen. The first example of this that I really want to talk about is in a car. We put fuel in our car to go, but there's actually a spark process that actually ignites the fuel, mixes it with oxygen to actually combust and make things go. It's the same thing when we burn fat, right? We got to breathe in, oxygen goes into the cycle that actually helps us metabolize stuff, creates that energy, that ATP that we need. And if we can't breathe, we actually can't even start that fat burning process by itself. It's one of the reasons that when you go running, you start huffing and puffing. It's actually to try and get as much oxygen in so we can produce more fuel into the body. The other thing that really happens is when we actually burn the fat, the only way we actually get rid of it, it doesn't actually go through our bum, it comes out of our mouth. We actually respire or exhale the burnt fat in the form of CO2. Hopefully you understand a little bit more about why breathing is so important and why it's one of the fundamentals of anything we do physically with our body. Next, I want to start covering posture and its effects on our actual breathing itself. When we're in this open, big position, our shoulders are down, our neck is open, we can actually fully take a big deep breath here, and we can really get a lot of good oxygen. It actually calms the body down. There's a neurological effect that happens when we can take a big deep breath. The body realizes that we're not still being chased by a lion, we're not trying to lift something big and heavy, that lots of stress is involved. It's a really calming type of thing. If you're stressed at work, or if you're tired, or any of that type of stuff, you usually end up finding yourself in this collapsed position, which is the last thing your body needs. We actually end up starting to get a little mild bit of anxiety when we can't breathe. So just getting up into this open position, uncollapsing the lungs, decompressing the rib cage here, really allows us to get a whole lot of fun, good energy into the body. 3-4 big deep breaths will also hit you just like a cup of coffee will too. Neurologically, recovery-wise, lots of good energy-wise, brain power-wise, this oxygen can permeate the whole body and really get a lot of good effects going on for you. Excuse my chicken scratch handwriting, that should say digestion, but even that non-breathable posture here, it puts a lot of pressure on our stomach, on our large intestine, on our small intestine, our pancreas, the kidneys. Everything gets compressed. We start talking about supplements a lot. We start talking about what food should I eat, paleo, Atkins, all this type of stuff. And because we're even in a bad position breathing-wise, we can't breathe, we can't actually turn food over in our stomach, actually send it through the system with something to burn with, like oxygen, to actually get a lot of the nutrients out of it. So getting up into these postures after a good meal, I don't know about you, but when I have a good meal, I sit back and I just feel that food in my stomach and start circulating through, not get onto the couch and collapse through and press it all down into me and start to get constipated and whatnot. I already talked a little tiny bit about the nervous system, and neurologically when we are in a bad position and not breathing, our body actually thinks that we're in trouble, that something's wrong and we can't do something or we need to do something else. When you're stretching something like that forearm stretch I taught you guys, that figure 4 stretch I taught you guys, even something as simple as just getting into a mild neck stretch here, a lot of people will try and stretch and just crank against it and they stop breathing and they start tightening everything else up. Yeah, that muscle there might get a little tiny bit of a stretch, but everything else is going to tighten up. What we want to do is when we get into these types of stretches, I always tell people go only as far as you can take a big deep breath. And what that's going to do is it's actually going to not only speed up the amount of stretch you'll actually get, it'll calm that muscle down. And because the nervous system actually thinks we're okay and we're safe, it's going to learn this a whole lot faster. It's not distracted from something else. If the muscle thinks, oh my god, okay, I'm stretching, but the lion is still behind me, I'm getting chased, you're not really going to actually teach the body how to get through this type of stuff. In another video, I'll start talking about one of my favorite stretches. It's a huge twist. It takes about 3 or 4 minutes to do. But the key element, the key component of it, the reason people actually get hurt when they're twisting in a lot of different positions is that I find that a lot of people actually hold their breath as they get into it. The key to any kind of fat loss in our body is to breathe. We have to be able to either, one, get rid of the fat in our body, and oxygen is needed just like the spark plugs in your car, just like the air intake in your car. And two, we also have to have an exhaust. If I put a potato into the pipe of your car and it can't breathe out, your engine's not going to like that. You're going to hyperventilate, you're going to start passing out on your workout floor, you're not going to get the most out of anything, and your recovery time's going to suffer. So breathing is a really, really critical part of your weight loss or even weight gain as well. If you want to get muscle, you got to be able to glue all that extra protein together with extra oxygen, delivering it to the muscle it needs. All right? I hope all this information was super useful to you guys. I hope it didn't overload anybody. There's a lot to take in. Bottom line is breathe a whole lot more and your life will get a lot better. As always, have a whole lot of fun, and I'll talk to you guys later.